Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Andrew Neil has written an interesting article, spelling really the doom for the SNP. One of the things they like to use as an example of why their claim for independence is so strong is that Catalan also want to leave Spain. They have a long tradition and a long desire to extricate themselves from what is effectively a federal state of Spain and form their own first region and then individual country of Catalan. This has been going on for some time, and they actually had separatists who end up a few years ago being tried for treason and going to jail. Perhaps that's something that Westminster may start to consider as well. However, as Andrew Neil reports, it's cooling. People in Catalan, the calls for independence are cooling. And not just Catalan. Other places that have previously had independence movements. It all seems to be less fervent than it once was. It's almost as though across the whole of Europe, independence is no longer seen as a good thing. Which means, of course, that the SNP are now quite literally on the outside. They are no longer part of a gang of independent wanting regions. They're just sort of meh on their own. Their fight is over. They can't point to anyone else and say, well, they want it as well, because increasingly they don't. Let's have a look to see the failing and falling of independence movements across Europe and across Scotland, because of course there too it is slowly fading away because people realise the strength of union. Here goes. So, Andrew Neil says that the Catalan election spells bad news for the SNP as he makes the Carluke comparison. Independence parties fell back in the Spanish region, with polls suggesting that nationalism is also on the wane in Scotland ahead of this year's general election. And of course it is, because more and more people are increasingly seeing, first of all, that there is, as I would say, the strength in the union. And of course, secondly, and more importantly, that the SNP have made a complete pig's ear of every single thing that they want. Now, given this, it's not looking good for independence. Do you want independence? Yes. Why? I want a strong independent Scotland. Have you looked at Scotland? It's shit. Why? The SNP have screwed it up for 17 years. And you want them to run an independent Scotland without any kind of backup or support or emergency safety net from Westminster? And a lot more people are saying, yeah, you're right. No. Andrew Neil said the results of an election in the Spanish region of Catalonia spelled bad news for the SNP. And the veteran broadcaster reckons what happens there will also happen in Carluke when Scots next cast their votes in an election from Catalonia to Carluke. Support for separatist parties fell in the regional election, while backing for Catalan independence has fallen from a high point of 49% in 2017 compared to 42% today. That's very similar sort of figures to the support for independence in Scotland, isn't it? Up from, I think the peaked at 47, and it's gone down now to about 44 in some polling. So down it goes, downward trend. Political commentator Neil sees parallels with what's happening in Scotland as support for the SNP wanes ahead of this year's general election. Wanes? It's dissolving in front of your eyes. It's absolutely gone. They're going to lose, well, initially over half their seats, possibly 2/3 of their seats, and with a little bit of tactical voting, good people, possibly even more. They could be down to single figures, which I still think is too high. But anyway, reacting to the Catalan results, he said separatist Catalan national parties have just had their worst election results in their home region since 1980, losing control of Catalonia in the process. The SNP has worshipped and feted these nationalists. He added, but it is a well-established political maxim that what happens in Catalonia today happens in Carluke tomorrow. When one person suggested an alternative, what happens in Barcelona today happens in Barhead tomorrow, Neil replied, Another well-established political maxim to live by. Can't help but like Andrew Neil. The SNP has never explicitly supported Catalan independence, aware that upsetting Spain could have an impact on Scotland joining the EU in the event of a breakup of the UK. They've got zero chance of joining the EU. None at all. However, Nat politicians are hugely sympathetic to the cause. MP Joanna Cherry was among a number of Scots who went to the region for the unconstitutional 2017 referendum, which returned a pro-separation vote of over 92% amid mass boycotts from pro-Spanish voters. It was followed by the arrest of the separatists and their locking up for long sentences for treason. And that's what I say. I mean, it's definitely an option, isn't it? It's definitely an option. While not stating its explicit backing for Catalan independence, former SNP leader Nicola Sturgeon said she supported the right of people to self-determination and criticised the Spanish government for arresting and detaining pro-independence Catalan politicians. If she supports the right of people to self-determination, then why is it after the referendum, when the people of Scotland said this is what we want, she couldn't accept it? Seems like a hypocritical two-faced twonk to me. The party also backed the former University of St Andrews professor Clara Ponsati, who faced possible extradition to Spain. Yeah, send her back. Go on, get them all back. Send them all to prison. Pro-independence parties had enjoyed a majority in the Catalan region assembly for a decade until this weekend. The four independence parties, led by the Together Party of former regional president Charles Puigdemont, I hope that's how you think, led by the... They won a total of 61 seats. Sorry, a message just came up there, and I'm absolutely going to have to deal with that. They won a total of 61 seats, short of the key figure of 68 seats needed for a majority in the chamber. So they won, and they lost. And what happens in Catalonia happens in Carluke. It goes to show that all across, independence is failing. They don't want it. They realise that in modern day economic terms, better to be part of, your mother country, as it were, than to try to stand out as a new country, because you're going into an already saturated market with a dodgy currency, with no backing, with little productivity. Take note, SNP, take note. No wonder your days are gone. You're nearly done. It's just a matter of time now, isn't it? Rest in peace. Or not. Rise in hell. Coming up. Come the general election, the SNP undoubtedly will be handed a bag. Told to fill their desk and leave. We need to do it again at the Holyrood elections because they must go. They are absolute criminals. They are a bunch of thugs. They apply pressure where pressure isn't needed. They do things that no legitimate party should do, and they need to be kicked out of office for the benefit of everybody in Scotland. Anyway, I shall stop there. Thank you very much for watching. Do please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment. Please share the video, and I will speak to you later. Thanks a lot. Bye.